It is the Riot Podcast. Good Monday, November 7th to you. Studio looks a little different today, don't it?
Yeah, we didn't. If you're watching our video podcast, which you should be at RadioU Riot on Facebook and our YouTube channel, you can see that we spent Friday before this podcast decorating for Christmas.
Yeah,
sometimes I think it looks nice.
Sometimes
it looks great.
I feel bad for the people that just listen to the podcast instead of watching because a lot of times we talk about stuff you could see if you did watch it, but then it's like, well, you have the option to watch. Everybody has YouTube.
But I will say the audio podcast that we send out usually has a bit more than the video podcast. So there's pluses and minuses. You should just rewatch and watch. And you should hit both of them
You
up.
should have it on an endless loop.
Yes.
Both versions. The Christmas decoration stuff looks right. It's I feel festive today.
It looks good.
Yeah, it felt good putting it up to you on Friday.
I'm sure it did.
So
what are you talking about?
Isaiah did like nothing, but
I helped.
Towards the end, he came in and just said a few things out loud, so it looked like he was participating.
I think maybe these over here is how we had it before. So maybe if you guys should get on that,
My
it'd be
favorite
great.
is when he just started repeating what someone who was doing something was saying.
Yeah, Hudson was like, I think we had this on this. And I was like, I think we did too. I think we had it on there as well.
But we switched it up a little bit this year, and I think we went a little above and beyond compared to previous years too, which I appreciate. It looks good.
If again, sorry if you're not watching the video, but if you scoot Hudson to the side a little
Which
bit,
side?
They could see the full Christmas wreath that's
I guess
behind
we should go
you.
This way, then?
That's a new addition.
That was a nice call.
It wasn't easy to hang either.
Oh, you didn't do it.
It wasn't easy to hang either.
It's true. Chris probably spent like half an hour doing that.
You did a good
without
job.
any help from Isaiah.
Well, we're getting close. We actually decorated just a behind-the-scenes thing because we're getting close. We're working this week on our RadioU Christmas channel. So if you're, as a podcast listener, not familiar with that, we'll be launching that in a few weeks. So you can enjoy RadioU Christmas songs and listen to that when you'd like.
Oh, yeah.
And then during the podcast today, we talked about an unexpected landing from an airplane so people could use the restroom.
Yeah, did you hear that?
Mm-mm.
No.
All the toilets broke.
Yeah.
No way.
Imagine if you're in a plane. In the plane
But
ride
there's only
was-
two, though, right?
Well, it
There's one
depends.
in the front, one in the back.
It depends on the plane.
It was a plane thing for basically going from Africa to the UK. So,
Oh, so
it was
maybe
a
there's
longer flight.
multiple.
It had 200 people, and because it was such a long flight, you have to provide bathrooms.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they were all broken.
So they had to stop?
They had to stop.
That sounds terrible.
I wonder how long they would have been comfortable. Like if it was, well, it's just another 30 minutes to our destination. If they would have kept going or if they still would have, At what point did it become emergency enough where people had to go bad enough or enough had soiled themselves that they're like, this can't go on any further?
Well, you have to think about the lawsuits because, like, if someone has to use the
that's
bathroom
right.
and there's none that's allowed, and then say they get sick in the plane, then that's like
the airline might have to buy them new pants.
That's like a health hazard.
That
at
is
that
a health
point,
hazard.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Did you give the obvious answer of, like, the obvious fix?
What do you mean?
Like the Gatorade bottle?
He did say
I did say that.
Gatorade.
That's exactly what I said.
It makes so much sense.
I thought you were going to say go open the window. And just
I guess that's another way. The emergency. Hopefully, whoever's in the emergency row.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
why
It is an
if-
emergency.
It is.
That's why if you're on a road trip or just in life, never trust the lemon lime Gatorade bottle.
Yes.
Never trust
the
it.
lemon lime Gatorade bottle.
Especially if it's warm.
Nope.
Oh,
you,
man.
you don't know what that thing is.
We also talked about a new term called infladating. So essentially, don't spend as much money as you used to when you went on dates.
It's not even don't. It's you can't.
You
Yeah.
can't.
It's not. It's on the cards.
You can't afford it.
So it's like inflation dating, and then just being more aware of possibly spending less money when you're dating someone.
You really have to ask yourself a question before you go on a date nowadays, and that is, how much am I willing to spend to not be lonely?
Aww.
Or to
But
possibly.
if you spend too much, then you can't afford any more dates.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of it, you might still be lonely.
Aww.
Wait, think about this. This is something we didn't explore. What if you just, instead of going on several different dates, cheaper dates with people, what if you just save it all up?
Mass
and you
dates.
just, what?
Mass dates.
What are you talking
You're talking about having like 3 girls on one date?
No.
And just seeing how it goes.
I think
I don't
that's
know.
illegal.
We all that is not
It's
illegal.
not illegal.
You can share appetizers.
Yeah.
And then you save a little bit of money that way.
No, I was going to say you save it all up. You go on one big date and really go all out. And then it puts more pressure on that date. So you really are like, you got to knock it out of the park.
What happens if you don't, though? if you miss it.
Well, that's the risk you take. You got to put some pressure on yourself because you know what pressure creates? Diamonds.
Yeah.
And you know what girls like is diamonds.
That's what they like.
Are you meaning proposing?
Hudson's like, propose my dating advice. Have the ring on the first date.
If you just go on only one date and then get married, that saves a lot of money along the way, don't you think?
I guess.
Yeah.
That's one way to think about it.
One more strategy for you to try
if you're dating, it's just messed up anyway. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's just all messed up.
You know where you need to go is you need to go to a Mexican restaurant and you just fill up on chips. The free chips.
That's a great idea.
Toss them in there, go on Tuesday, get like $2 tacos.
Tell them it's your birthday. They might come out and serenade you.
Yes, exactly.
Beautiful.
Get as much chips and quesos as you possibly can.
Off air, Isaiah tells us every day about his McDonald's app reward stuff. So like if you find yourself someone who's lined up with the quest for a really good deal and like having fun with it, then dates could be super fun.
It'd be so fun. I go to McDonald's to get you a free fry. Maybe it's a nuggets deal. I'll get a quarter pounder. You get the 10-piece nugget. I could name all of them.
Dang. Well, that sounds like
actually that sounds like a really nice time, doesn't it?
Sounds like a fantastic date.
You go in the play place and everything.
Maybe we get an ice cream cone if we're lucky.
Just have to worry about the gas.
Tell them it's for your dog, and they might give it to you for free. You never know.
Well, this dating advice in this podcast, we hope you enjoyed. Make sure you text and say hi. Tell us how your weekend went to 877-2-RADIO-U, or you can always message us at Radio U Riot on Facebook and say hi there.
And we will catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Don't say we didn't warn you. This is the worst of the riot.
You know, Nikki, that Taylor Swift recently went ahead and announced her Eras Tour.
Yeah, thanks
the Eras Tour.
Thanks to TikTok, I see nothing but that and Harry Styles tour
TikTok
stuff.
let you know, huh?
Apparently.
So,
a lot of people crying.
Well, yeah. Did you see one of the reasons? Maybe you've seen this on your TikTok. Is that with her announcing this big stadium tour of the United States, it could be affecting a lot of people's other plans. Right now, you're going to have a scheduling conflict.
Oh, because people want to go to it, and so they have to reschedule.
People want to go, or they already had something planned for the date that it's in their area. So then they have to make some difficult choices, all the way up to the choice of whether to go to the Eras Tour or to get married that weekend.
Oh, that's their wedding day?
Yeah, some people are saying it's their wedding day, and so they...
Do not change your wedding date for a show.
Well, why not?
That's a lot of changing. I mean, for a lot of times for parties or weddings, you have to plan that stuff way in advance. They're not going to let you just switch the date.
You have to plan stadium tours a long time in advance, too.
Well, I
Taylor's
guess,
been working hard on this. You're not going to let her down by missing it, are you?
Helping you reschedule.
Well, listen to this, though, Nikki. I think this is some wise words from somebody on TikTok who says that weddings can be rescheduled. Stadium tours are non-negotiable.
I think you're supposed to reverse that.
What do you mean? Your wedding can move whenever you want it to.
Well, I mean, we're talking how much work ahead of time was already done. You know, like places have, like the places, do you tell them, hey, I'm Mr. Church or whatever, or party venue place.
Yeah.
Like, can I reschedule? And they're like, well, why do you need to?
They'll
Everything's set up.
understand. They'll understand. You tell them Taylor Swift's coming to town. And they're like, okay, we expected that. Actually, we're giving everybody the weekend off that weekend anyways.
We're not going to charge you for the rescheduling.
Yeah, that's understandable. That was actually written into your contract. If Taylor Swift schedules her tour for that weekend, you get to move your date for free.
That's a bold move.
Yeah.
But some people are fans, I guess.
But you got to think of this too, Nikki. It's not just about you. It could be your wedding day and Taylor Swift schedules. Okay. Well, I'm more important. I love my person I'm marrying more than I love Taylor Swift anyways. So the wedding's more important. Yeah, but what about all your guests? You really going to make them make that choice?
Oh, in case they don't come?
And it's, Nikki, if the choice was between a Taylor Swift concert and a wedding, which would you go to?
None.
And be honest about it.
I would go to none.
Oh, come on.
I would stay home. I guess just because I'm coming off the weekend of, like I mentioned, every For You page TikTok is about Harry Styles canceling shows. Then what if you've gone and made all these changes to your important date, and then the show gets canceled?
That would be quite the quandary.
That could be it. So
but, I mean, by that point, I think you would have already accepted that you moved your wedding. So you just would you be ready to move on?
Well, you had all that work for nothing.
Then you'd have to move at a second time, though, I guess. So I don't know, but. I just it's something you don't think about, some people. You start getting planned at your wedding, and then other people like to throw monkey wrenches into it, like Taylor Swift.
So I feel like bands should be maybe doing like pre-show tour info. Like, hey, guys, what if we went with the 20th? Does that work for everybody? And then that way you get a little feedback.
They just really need to announce their tours further in advance, don't you think? Or what about this, Nikki? Maybe we don't need so much lead up to every wedding. What if it could just be like two people sharing their love with each other and it doesn't have to be like a big event that takes years to plan?
That's a good idea, too.
It'd be a lot harder to have scheduling conflicts if you did it that way.
Just remember, though, that there are some people who would have none of it and would rather just
Nikki's one of them.
Stay at home.
Yeah.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The worst of the riot. Radio U.
So people come to the riot for many things. But one of the top on the list in the survey I conducted was workout advice.
Do they?
Because we're all in such great shape. People look at our bodies and they say, how do we look like that?
While still being in radio.
Yeah.
While sitting down all day long.
And we are always, for ourselves, trying to improve our workout routines as well. So this is why I wanted to pass this along to everyone. We have a new study out from a place called Edith Cowan University, where they found a way where you could basically get the same results for working out in half the time. Or, in other words, you could double your results in the same amount of time you're currently working out.
Is this for cardio or like weightlifting?
This is weightlifting, but it's weight lowering.
What do they say?
That's the key. Instead of lifting weights, they found that participants who only lowered weights during workouts saw the same improvements as those who raised and lowered weights despite performing half the amount of repetitions. So instead of, what would this be? Like bicep curls or whatever, but instead of curling up, you curl down.
You do lower the weight.
Which I don't really understand how that's different.
Or you want to try it?
Yeah, do you understand this?
Yeah, it's more of like a controlling the weight thing. Like when you're like going down.
You just kind of drop it.
You like drop it slowly as you're going down, and it's like a big like tension building thing.
Yeah.
But my thing as well is if you're going down, I mean, you're gonna have to go up at
Might
some
as well
point.
Bring it back up.
Like you're gonna have to bring it back up. You can't always go down. You got to pick it up to go down.
I don't like that attitude about it.
I know, you're going to have to. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get it up there without being able to pick it up.
I understand. You have to go up to go down in the first place.
Yeah, but you have to go down to go up.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
So,
what do you do?
I mean, what I want to know, and I really feel like they need a video or something to accompany this, or like some kind of workout instructor, because I'm trying to figure out, like, what is... They're saying people who only lowered the weight. So what did you lower them, put them down, like hand them to somebody else, and then they lift them up for you? And like, how are we doing this? I'm open to the idea. I'd love to find out more, but I'm a little unclear on what they mean by you only lower weights and you get twice the results.
I just don't think we work out, maybe perhaps just like everybody else in this study, because we'll just be like, hey, just pick one weight and that's what you're working with.
Yeah.
But I guess for more maybe professional styles, you're picking and changing your weights to change your body
What
up.
are you talking about, Nikki?
What?
You look over here, you think I got this by being an amateur weightlifter?
Right,
Clearly
right.
professional.
You've been raising and lowering weights this whole time.
Yeah, and now I just realized that there's been something I've been doing wrong this whole time, and that's raising the weights. So it's going to have to change.
They say focusing on muscle contractions, and they say that it's important when it comes to increasing the strength and size of your muscles. So it's not always the volume, but it can also just be, this way then.
What's that old saying? Repetition for definition, but then if you want bulk, something else.
Something, yeah.
Something like that.
Something, yeah. I think I got half of it anyways. So you're going to take this, you guys, into your workouts? Are you going to attempt this? Or you think it's too good to be true?
Well, I've been working with a trainer twice a week.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I go and tell them that let's lower.
Yeah.
Let's stay lower. That
I read
sounds
this
lazy.
thing.
I actually have some advice for you to give back to me, oddly enough.
I know better than to do that. And so I'm not going to send her any of this article.
Wait, what if this whole time I'm thinking you have to lower the weights instead of lifting them?
Yeah.
But what if it means lower, like you do lower amount of weights?
Maybe.
Instead of doing 100 pounds, you do 50.
Whoa.
And you just keep going down until all of a sudden you're not lifting anything. Is that what it means?
Next time you walk in to work out, you're like, well, I think we should just do no weights. What about that?
How about just lower?
Is that working with just the bar,
just the barbell?
The barbell thing? Like maybe let's try that.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I do a lot of push-ups, so maybe I just have to rethink my mindset now. Because I'm always pushing myself up. Maybe I need to.
You do.
I need to start doing lower downs.
Lower down, and then you kind of like pick yourself back up, and then you go back down again.
It feels like it's all in your mind.
It's all the eccentric muscle contractions. Yeah. That's what it is.
Next time you go work out, just remember the riot told you do less. Yeah. No matter what.
I am very eccentric, so this should work.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
Let's talk about travel. You know where the Grand Canary Islands are the Canary Islands?
Yeah.
They're like they're Spain's property, but they're really like much further south. They're much more in the African region of the ocean. So to get from those Grand Canary Islands up to the UK and back and forth, like that's a pretty long flight, 4.5 hours, which is why a flight from Gran Canaria to Manchester in the UK had to be diverted, had to make an emergency landing halfway through in Spain so that people could use the toilet.
Did they break on the plane?
Yeah. After takeoff, it was shortly after takeoff, it was discovered.
Who broke the toilet?
That the toilets on the plane were not functioning. And so it sounds like they got about 2 hours into the flight before they finally had to make a stop off. Yeah. They were finally able to make a stop off in a place called, I don't know how to pronounce it, Bilbao or whatever in Spain, so that people could get off, where they stopped for about an hour, so all 200 passengers could go.
So everybody could have a time to go to the bathroom. Yeah. I think that's smart. There must be some rule where for however long a flight might be, you must be required to provide toilets. And they say all the toilets on the plane had been broken down. And because of the long duration of the flight, they had to make an emergency stop, which they said the airport wasn't aware of the reason for the stop until once they had landed.
You think that's because the pilots were embarrassed? They're like, we got to make an emergency landing.
I bet you
what's for?
The pilot had to use the bathroom.
I'll tell you later. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's probably the pilot. Everybody else is complaining. They're like, whatever. You can make it another 2 hours. Just like on a road trip with your dad.
Yeah.
Whatever, we're not stopping. We're making good time. And
until
then finally he has to go to the bathroom. And that's when it becomes an emergency.
They say it took an hour. The technicians were able to fix the toilets on the plane, and then they were able to resume its flight without any problems.
Tell you what must have been a nightmare after this flight took off again. Because they say they fixed the toilets, so everybody, once they completed the rest of their journey, was able to use the bathroom on the plane whenever they needed. But I bet you the bathrooms at the airport where they landed.
Well, they weren't prepared.
That was probably a nightmare scenario.
Because normally they're like, well, you need to go now. And you're like, I don't want to. You're like, no, you needed to go now.
You don't know what the bathroom situation is going to be like going forward for the rest of your flight to the UK. So you got to make use of that. There was probably such a line. There was probably stained pants, I would imagine.
No. Well, how about this? How about you just remember that if you're traveling this holiday season and you're flying and you're like, well, I'm sure it'll be fine. You never know when all the plane's toilets will be broken.
Yeah. Take a bottle with you.
Just go ahead of time.
Just in case. I find Gatorade works the best.
Your travel tips are just amazing.
Hudson, Nikki, The Riot on Radio U.
Ever heard somebody say this? Infladating.
Infladating?
Yeah.
So not insta-dating, are we inflating?
Or, like inflating, or maybe it's infladating.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does that mean...
You ever heard that term?
I have not. Are you inflating how well you are, or like how good you are?
My typical dating, it sounds like.
Yeah, how are we inflating things?
I think that's what you're supposed to do on your dating profile, right? You're supposed to inflate yourself. But it's actually, I guess this is no surprise, because inflation is running rampant. So it is a new term used by the service, the dating app, Plenty of Fish. You heard of this? Plenty of Fish? That's like an old school one, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
I've never even heard of it, to be honest.
You've never heard of it? Mm-mm. That means it must have had its time and gone away. So I don't know if they're allowed to be corny coining terms if they're not even in Isaiah, the single ones.
Wheelhouse.
Yeah, wheelhouse, exactly. But they are coining the term infladating. It doesn't even roll off the tongue, does it?
Well, they're just making
They
it
go back to the
work.
drawing board. But they're using that as a term to what they expect to be a trend going forward the rest of this year. And then into 2023, a lot of people, in the new year, they're going to make resolutions. They're going to be like, I got to have a date by Valentine's Day. And they're going to hop on. Some people even want to have dates for the holidays. They think at Plenty of Fish that infladating is going to be the trend because people, with inflation running rampant, people just cannot afford to go on such lavish first dates.
Oh, so it's cheaper dates.
And so they're saying, how do they put it? A frugal ambiance
Sure.
to your date, which doesn't that sound just so romantic?
Even though I think a lot of us have been infladating and just
I think
didn't even
so,
realize
right?
it.
Yeah, I think so.
You don't have to spend a ton on a date.
I think just the more and more that people that, I guess the more that inflation continues on and people just realize they can't continue going on these expensive dates every weekend.
Well, sometimes the ladies can.
Yeah.
I guess so, right?
That's why they're going on so many dates.
So.
That should be its own term because they don't want to spend money on their own. They're like, oh, someone take me out on a date.
Well, listen to this. They say yearly, like for how much the average person would spend on a date all year, it's gone up to now over $3,000 per year.
What was it before?
Going back last year, it was only $23.75.
Okay, so there's
$23.75
there's
to
the inflation.
$3,000. No, I'm just kidding.
So-
It's $2,375.
So Isaiah, it's not like you would say because people are just going on more dates. It's just that when you do go on a date, it's just more expensive.
Yeah, and so I think it's better off anyway to go on cheaper dates anyway.
You think so?
I think so. Unless you're like in an actual relationship with the person, then you can like plan out special times to do like really special things.
For special days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if you're going on a first date, if you're spending a lot of money, I just think that you're just silly for that. That just seems like a crazy thing to do.
But what if, though? Think about this. If everybody else, when everybody else zigs, you zag in the dating world. You want to stand out. You be the person that's willing to be a high roller on the date, to go big, to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
That'll really make an impression. If you're like a guy taking a gal out and she's been on several dates where it's a walk in the park and a coffee, and you take her and you get her like a 5-star meal, all of a sudden, you're showing some value there. Don't
Then
you
you're
think?
moving up in the rankings. But is that the way you want to do it, though? Wouldn't you rather have somebody that can have a good time with you without spending a bunch of money? I mean, if you want my money, that's not a good way to do it.
That was the most mature thing I think I've ever heard you say.
I mean, you don't need to. I mean,
you
for
know
me
that?
personally, I'm not high rolling ever. So if they don't like going to Wendy's for our dates, then that's fine. You're just not the girl for me. That's okay.
That's high expectations. If you do go ahead and try to go for that, you might stand out the first date if you're being the one person that's willing to spend a lot.
Yeah.
But then after that, can you keep that up?
It's just
is
too
another
much.
question.
They say casual entertainment has really gone up. So that'd be like seeing a movie or some sort of show. That's gone up from $3,568 on average to from $2,909.
Oh, goodness.
So it's gone up about $600.
Sheesh. It never gets old to me talking about dating because it's such a weird thing. It's like a several year long job interview about whether you want to. Would you like to be my wife?
Would you like to hang out for a long period of time together?
Here, it's a 2-year test about whether you would want to be my husband or not. Whether I think you're right.
It's really just a test of like how much can I really endure of you? Can I handle you long term, or is this like maybe I don't even like you that much?
Well, they say for cheaper dates, which, by the way, don't feel bad because I think that is traditionally what more people date like anyways. They say it makes it easier to split the tab, or if one person is just picking it up, there's no awkwardness. It's not too expensive. So try to come up with something that everybody can enjoy, but also is not too much money.
Spending more money doesn't even ensure a good date anyway.
It does not.
Well, you don't want to be
It'd
like...
still be super awkward.
You're like, wow, you're the youngest person to be bankrupt.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're single. So
Thank you for this $200 meal.
prospects-
Yeah.
I don't think this is working out,
Your
though.
prospects will quickly dry up after you go bankrupt.
Yeah, because they won't like that either.
The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on Radio U.
So we beat the candy conversation into the ground during Halloween, right? But this is different. We have here data on what the most popular movie theater candy is. So, first of all, before we dig into what the most popular ones actually
candy
were.
For movie theaters?
No, you bring in your own.
You sneak it in. You sneak it in.
This should be the top candy that you can sneak into the movie theater.
Yeah. So, do you guys like looking at this map? I think it's clear, but just to make sure with you guys, what your favorite candy for the movies is different than your favorite candy just generally, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because thinking of the movies, you want something that's not going to melt in your hands. You can easily eat in the dark. Yeah. Okay. So this is according to Cinemark movie theaters. This is according to what they sell. I don't know. They're not clear whether they do it by state, whether it's the most uniquely, like more people buy this in this state than in other states, or if it's just the top selling candy at their theaters in each state. But let me tell you that on the West Coast, Red Vines are the clear top. You go from California to Utah and all the way up to Washington and everywhere in between. That's Red Vine country.
See, I don't feel like I ever got into Red Vines or Twizzlers at a movie theater.
I don't even know if they sell Red Vines at our theaters here.
They definitely do.
You think so?
I think they do because my favorite candy for the movie theater would be Twizzlers.
Yeah.
Like growing up, we would always take Twizzlers to the movie theater
But Twizzlers
every
are
single
different
time.
than Red Vines.
Yeah, Red Vines are trash. If you eat Red Vines, I don't like you. That's just how it is. I don't know why you would pick Red Vines over Twizzlers. It makes no sense.
Strong words. I need to try a Red Vine so I can find out if all this Red Vine hate is justified.
There's only a few states that enjoy Twizzlers.
Yeah, that is.
And I'm one of them, unfortunately.
Alabama,
it's just me.
South Carolina, Maryland, and Delaware are Twizzler states. Then you go down to like the Southwest kind of, from Arizona over to Louisiana. And that's all peanut M&M country.
Dude, that's
down there.
Majorly peanut M&M country.
Seriously. So that's what's big there. Now then you get to some more like random ones where Reese's Pieces, that's it looks like Nebraska and Tennessee enjoy Reese's Pieces. There's a few pockets, including Ohio, Indiana, West Virginia, and Kentucky, that like the cookie dough bites.
I thought that was odd.
Why? You think it's odd?
I don't even know what those are, if I'm being honest.
They're it's just cookie dough with like chocolate.
It's edible cookie dough.
Yeah.
And then it's covered in chocolate. It's kind of like
They're
a Milk
good.
Dud, I guess.
I just feel like style. To be the leader of movie theater candy is a bit strange.
See, I would think that might be the one I would choose.
Yeah.
I think that might be what I pick.
I've never even seen these before.
You've never seen them?
Never seen them.
I don't know if you would like them or not.
It sounds good, but I've never seen these before.
It's not
I think
like
we
real
go to
cookie dough,
different
though.
movie theater experiences.
You think so? A lot of times at our theaters, too, the cookie dough bites are on sale. It's like $2. It's like the one special. Apparently they are. They're number one. They're number one in Ohio, Montana, South Dakota. And then you've got this state I have to take an issue with. You've got, I believe that is Iowa.
Yeah.
Regular M&Ms.
Yeah, well, there's always one state.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
One state.
Is that all the movie theater sells? Is that all Cinemark sells in Iowa? Is M&Ms? Because you got so many other options.
Oh, you didn't even get the peanut ones.
Yeah, that's right. What are you thinking there in Iowa?
I got to say a good follow-up to Georgia with the Trolley Sour Bite Crawlers.
Yeah.
Those are a good choice.
Solid choice.
Mm-hmm. And North Carolina as well.
Yeah, and then I'm seeing that the like Twizzlers that are sour, the punch.
Yeah.
They're not actually Twizzlers, but they're basically the same thing. And then they're sour. That's a unique one, and that's in Arkansas and Mississippi. They're going with those. So it's weird how it's so regional, don't you think?
Everything's different.
That people's taste just vary from state to state. I think I probably would take cookie dough bites.
Cookie dough bites,
probably.
Isaiah?
Those are pretty
Twizzlers
good.
for sure.
Twizzlers?
My number one.
Are good for just movies for some reason.
I like a buttered popcorn and maybe a box of Raisinets or Milk Duds.
Raisinets?
I know. Isn't it weird? I went through a real Raisinette phase.
That's
interesting.
Crazy. You're in the minority. They're not even on the map.
They're not even on the list.
Wow, that's crazy. You know what I love to include with my candy? Fruit.
Fruit?
Yeah. Not really. I'm making fun of you. Yeah.
I was so confused at what you were saying.
I love when it's fruit candy.
Yeah, well, thanks for making fun.
Thanks for watching the worst of the riot. Since you made it this far, you might as well like, subscribe, and check out riot.radiou.com for even more riot.